You know, there are moments in your life, just 5 or 10 seconds, that absolutely divide your entire existence into a before and an after. For me, that moment happened in the polished lobby of the Peninsula. Right in the middle of San Francisco, over a handshake that never happened. And if you think this is just another story about a mean CEO getting their comeuppance, trust me, you only know half the picture. The good half. Let me introduce you to Veronica Sterling, the woman I thought was unstoppable. Picture this corner. Office on the 42nd floor, overlooking the bay, a Stanford MBA. It's featured in every 30 under 30 list since she was 25. Wearing a custom-tailored Valentino suit that probably cost more than my first car. She was the founder of Nexus Innovations, a tech company that, just 6 months earlier, was valued north of $900 million. But here's the kicker. By the morning I walked into that hotel, Nexus was bleeding $8 million. A month, and the bank account was set to hit zero in exactly 10 weeks. She'd spent the last year pitching 20-something investors, all big names, and every single one had told her no. Too arrogant, too closed off, red flags about the toxic culture, ... that kind of feedback. She just deleted the emails and called them short-sighted. Meanwhile, I'm Miles Kincaid. I run Ares Ventures. My background is different. Grew up on the south side of Chicago. Mom worked 3 jobs, paid for college with scholarship money and sheer stubbornness. I built an AI financial modeling platform at 24, sold the company for a few $100 million a couple of years later. Now I manage a $4 billion fund. I don't do suits. Never have. It's a personal thing, partly comfort, mostly a test. I want to see if you respect my ideas or if you only respect the facade of wealth. So, this particular morning, December 8th, I'm wearing a crisp, dark navy polo shirt, some perfectly pressed charcoal slacks, and a pair of spotless white Italian leather sneakers. It's my uniform. My assistant, Lisa, confirmed the 9 a.m. meeting with Veronica's office 3 weeks. Prior, we were ready to talk about a $450 million Series D investment number. It would have not only saved Nexus, but set them up for the next 5 years. We had done 8 months of deep dive research. Tech was phenomenal, but the leadership was ... questionable. I needed to meet Veronica face to face, because numbers might lie, but people, not so much. I walk into the Peninsula lobby, maybe 5 minutes late because Market Street traffic is a nightmare, and I see Veronica. She's standing with 2 European guys, probably in their mid-50s, all stiffness and pinstripes. She's tossing her head back, laughing at something, but the Germans look bored, checking their heavy Swiss watches. I approach, portfolio under my arm, firm handshake ready. Miss Sterling, Miles Kincaid, we have the 9 o'clock meeting regarding the Series D round. I extend my hand, right? And she stops laughing. The noise just evaporates from the room. She turns, and her eyes start at my sneakers. Travels slowly up the charcoal slacks, pausing maybe a beat too long, and then land on my navy polo shirt. When her gaze finally hits my face, it's not recognition, it's revulsion. Like I'm holding something foul, she takes a tiny, almost imperceptible step backward, clasping her own hands together over her diamond-quilted purse, keeping them nowhere near mine. Her voice, usually so smooth and polished, comes out like glass breaking. Excuse me, who exactly let you in here? This is a private meeting for serious investors, not people who look like they're here to fix the vending machine. The 2 German men freeze. The whole lobby seems to go quiet. The blood rushed to my chest, that familiar heavy, suffocating weight I hadn't felt since I was 21, and a professor at MIT assumed I was lost and told me to check the campus map. I tried again, keeping my voice level, professional, but the warmth was gone. Miss Sterling, I'm with Ares Ventures. Perhaps if you'd check your brief, my assistant confirmed this 3 weeks ago. She laughs, but it's a tight, hateful sound. Ares Ventures? Ever heard of it? Look, I don't know what kind of scam you're running, flashing a fake portfolio, but I have no time for opportunists trying to network their way into private business. Security. She pointed at me, using her finger like a weapon. Get this man out of here now. 2 guards came over. One older, tired black gentleman named Samuel and a younger, beefy white guy. Samuel's eyes met mine, apologetic, exhausted, maybe recognizing a pattern. I knew then I had a choice. Pull out my phone, show her the $4 billion balance sheet, call my CFO, and force the issue. But why? This woman had shown me everything I needed to know in under a minute. She hadn't seen a potential partner. She'd seen a black man in casual clothes and decided, instantly, that he didn't belong. I just gave Samuel a small nod. I can find my way out. No need for an escort. But Veronica wasn't done savoring the moment. Oh no. Escort him to the street. Make sure he doesn't try to sneak into the kitchen for leftovers. I walked out, head high, the sound of her petty laughter chasing me to the sidewalk. My phone buzzed the second I hit the fresh morning air. It was Lisa. Boss. What? Happened? Veronica's assistant just called, said you left? I replied simply, change of plans. Cancel the whole Nexus deal. I just got my answer. Now you have to understand, Veronica lived in a bubble of confirmation bias. She assumed the Germans would eventually cave, and she assumed the guy in the polo shirt was nothing. She never read her briefs. Her assistant, poor overworked Jenna, handled all that. Jenna had sent the full Forbes profile, the Wall Street Journal op-ed where I literally detailed my dress code philosophy sheet, sent everything. But Veronica assumed, and that assumption hit her like a train about 2 hours later. I was already on the private jet back to New York when my CFO, David, texted me a screenshot of a viral tweet from one of the German guys. Witnessed a shocking display of disrespect and poor judgment at a SF meeting today. How you treat people says everything. Hashtag business ethics. Meanwhile, back in the corner office, Jenna, the assistant, finally had the guts to put the Forbes article in front of Veronica's face. The headline read, Miles Kincaid, the quiet billionaire who only invests in integrity. Net worth, $4 billion. Nexus's only lifeline. Veronica's world shattered. I heard later from David that she actually started sweating through her custom Valentino. She tried calling my direct line 15 times, straight to voicemail. She emailed, I had an autoresponder set up. This email address is not monitored. For unsolicited inquiries, she was begging. And the irony. Her humiliation was just starting, a day and a half later. I'm drinking my coffee in my apartment overlooking Central Park when Lisa texts me. Ms. Sterling is in the lobby. She's been sitting there for 3 hours. She looks rough. Rough was an understatement. Veronica had flown the red-eye, was wearing the same wrinkled, coffee-stained Chanel suit, and was sitting on those unforgiving granite benches. I had her wait for another hour. Then, I finally let her come up to conference room, see the small windowless one. I was in my standard uniform, gray button-down, black jeans. I didn't stand up when she walked in. She started immediately, throat tight, voice shaking. Mr. Kincaid, I came here to personally apologize for the misunderstanding. I held up one hand, silencing her. Stop. The problem wasn't a misunderstanding, Sterling. The problem is that you saw a black man in a polo shirt and decided instantly that he was beneath you. You refused to shake my hand, you called. Security, you humiliated me in front of 50 people. Tell me the truth. If I had been a 60-year-old white man in a bespoke suit, would you have done that? Silence. Long, heavy, agonizing silence, where the only sound was the distant city hum. Finally, a whisper. No, I wouldn't have. Exactly, I said. That's the problem, not mistaken identity. It's bias. And I don't invest $450 million in leadership that operates on assumptions and prejudice. She looked broken, honestly. The armor was finally gone. She started talking about the 3,000 employees, the lives that depended on Nexus, and that, I realized, was the only thing that mattered to me. Not her ego, but their future. I slid a simple printed sheet of paper across the table. I'll invest. On conditions. You don't sign until you understand that this is not about my ego. This is about real systemic change. The conditions were brutal. Immediate public apology, explicitly naming and taking accountability for racial profiling. no PR fluff. Independent, comprehensive cultural audit of Nexus. Publicly releasing the data. Board must achieve 40% diversity within 12 months. She personally had to donate $5 million to my Black Founder Fund. She would step down as CEO within 60 days. She read the list, looked at the $5 million donation line, and her hand was shaking so badly, I thought she might drop the paper. Her career, her reputation, her whole identity was on that sheet. But she looked at me, tears in her eyes, and nodded. I agree. I commit to this. I stood up. Good, don't thank me. Thank the 3,000 employees who are the only reason I'm still talking to you. 2 days later, the press conference went live. I watched it from New York. Veronica was standing at the podium, no excessive makeup, no polished script. She looked exhausted, but finally real. She looked straight into the lens of 40 cameras and said, I committed an act of racial profiling. I refused to shake the hand of Mr. Miles Kincaid, a black investor, and I judged him based on my own deep-seated biases. This was not a misunderstanding. This was bias, and I caused harm. It went viral instantly. Within the week, she was formally removed as CEO. The new CEO was Marcus Chung, a brilliant Asian American coup she had repeatedly overlooked for promotions. Because she thought he was too quiet, 6 months later, the cultural audit results came out and they were devastating. 91% of executive roles were held by white men. Black employees were promoted at 50% lower rates than white peers with identical qualifications. The audit proved that Veronica's behavior was the symptom of a company-wide sickness, not the cause. She lost everything she had built her identity on. Her CEO title, her board seats, her standing in the Palo Alto social circle. She was recognized. In grocery stores, not with admiration, but with cold, hard stares. 1 year later, same hotel, the Peninsula. Nexus Innovations, now run by Marcus, is hosting its annual investor summit. I walk into the lobby wearing a dark gray polo and khakis. And there's Veronica waiting by the entrance. No Valentino suit, just a simple blazer. She extends her hand, not hesitantly, but with a new, quiet confidence. Mr. Kincaid, thank you for being here. I take her hand. This time, the handshake is firm, professional, and earned. On stage later, a moderator asks us both the million-dollar question. Mr. Kincaid, do you regret investing after what Veronica did? I lean into the mic. Regret that it took public humiliation for accountability to happen. But I don't regret giving those 3,000 employees a chance to build something better, because that's what this is about. Dignity shouldn't require a Forbes ranking. The moderator turns to Veronica. What would you say to the person you were a year ago? She pauses for a long time, looking out at the diverse crowd before answering, her voice steady. Your privilege blinded you. You mistook power for character. And you had to lose everything to finally see. This story went viral because it's satisfying to watch the powerful face consequences. But real change isn't entertaining, it's uncomfortable, it's daily, it's forever. Veronica changed not because she wanted forgiveness, but because I forced her to start doing the work. So here's my question for you. The person listening right now, when was the last time you made an assumption about someone based on how they looked, or the color of their skin, or the clothes they were wearing? Have you ever walked past someone's basic humanity to get to a transaction? If you had the power, like I did, to demand change, would you use it to build a better system? Or would you simply protect your own ego? Drop a comment below. I want to know your answer, because accountability, folks, never takes a day off. Dignity is not negotiable. Respect is not conditional. Share this story, but more importantly, share the lesson.